All right, well, as much as I don't want to, I need to put this thing back up in the air. It's a lot of work. I can sign up for this. All right, what's going on, you guys? So we're back with video number 2 on the trunk on the white Galaxie. Hopefully in this video, I want to get this trunk at least in the car. If nothing else, at least get that thing welded in. So you can see I got everything torn apart. At the end of the last video, we started cleaning stuff, so we're gonna pick up in this one. And so you can see I've got everything kind of, I went and bought a needle gun. That's like the best tool ever for cleaning grease. You can see all the stuff on the floor. That was me just kind of going along the backing plates and getting all that kind of junk off so I can paint all this. So needle gun's doing its thing. You can see it kind of pits up the metal, which is why it's really good for like frames and stuff like that. You probably shouldn't use it on something with a nice clean finish. You can see I tried using it right there. It just kind of pits the metal, so I'm gonna have to sand that again. But all these like really hard to reach places, like the third member up front, all those kind of places, that thing is amazing. So I'm gonna keep using it and finish where I went off last night. It's a little loud, so I kind of went inside early. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish off the frame area, get this thing shot with some paint, and then I'll have a nice shiny black rear frame to go ahead and put everything on. Alright, so being that we're going this far with this car anyways, I figured, I mean, it's got some nice KYVs on it, but I had a turbo can under here one day and I spray painted them pretty good. So we have an older American replacement for these things, so I want to pull these off, get these out of the way. This nut wasn't even tight to begin with, so that's cool. Also, even though these are nice KYVs, the bushings are pretty torn. Wouldn't be a bad idea to replace them. Plus, they can be nice KYVs, but I'm pretty sure they've been on here for like 15 years and they're definitely, the seals are bad. So we're gonna replace them.
It's not good.
I think it's dead.
I don't think it's good.
Oh, it's not good.
Oh, it's a little good.
Oh!
I got a boner.
Just had to be that guy. Alright, so one of the things we're going to fix is on this inner wheelhouse. I didn't want to do this, but I need to. You can see I got some rough spots right here, and another one up there. So what I'm going to do is, and then I messed the metal up pretty bad right here, so I'm going to go up, over, back down, pull that panel out, stitch weld the new piece in here, and then I can just, then I can really say there's no rust in this car. So I'm going to cut this out. Yeah, I'm gonna throw some. I haven't tried this yet. I'm gonna put some automotive primer on this thing. I'm gonna paint the whole undercarriage. Way easier to paint the underside of your car in your rear end when there's no trunk in it. So you don't even have to crawl under it. I can just stand in it. So I already sprayed a little bit right here. I'm just kind of going around, getting all this done now. So I don't have to do it later. Stuff so far lays really nice. Just kind of doing everything that I have already. I'm redoing stuff, and obviously I didn't do the frame before, so now I'm doing the frame and trying to make it look as nice as I can. I know you're never going to see the top, so there's a lot of people that are going to tell me that, but I want it to look good. I'm just going to do everything. I got to make sure I don't do my welding surface. I'll do that part last, but go all the way across my shock mount. I think it's funny that they have that big of a bar for a shock mount, but I get it's a cross member, but still I think it's kind of funny. Alright guys, so today we're working on the Galaxie again. I got a new camera, new mic setup, not really sure how everything's working. Hopefully you guys can hear me alright. Kind of getting familiar with the setup. This is all really new to me, so kind of just testing stuff out. Alright, well, as much as I don't want to, I need to put this thing back up in the air and take all this back apart. So I'm gonna go ahead and jack it back up and blow this whole car apart real quick. If you guys didn't see it in the last video, go check it out, JBA video. These are the new wheels and tires we're going to be running. This is our test fit. So now I'm going to take this thing back apart, pull the whole back of the car apart, get those shocks in, get the trunk pan in, and get all this other stuff put back together. And I'm going to miss looking at this. I got to get this car done. Alright guys, so we've got this thing pretty much where I want it, I think. You can see I've got everything clamped up on the bottom side. So you can see I got all those clamps down there. Those guys are all, routed where I want it. So got a bunch of them clamping in the corner on both sides. You can see the ones over there. And what those are doing are basically pulling it and stretching it outwards and bringing these wheel houses together. There was a big gap right here. You can actually see I don't have a clamp up there and it's starting to come apart, but this panel fits really, really nice. I haven't modified anything or bent anything. I mean, the panel gaps line up really nice. I've got these rear bolts in to help line everything up and torque it all down. And everything lines up perfectly. Even considering this, outer wheelhouse is a little bit bent from this whole situation, it still lines up really nice right here. So, and you can see all the way down. I mean, this thing is just fit and finish is really great. So I'm super happy with that. I am going to start going and welding this thing in. So I think right now I'm getting to a point where I can go ahead and start tacking some of this stuff. So I'm going to roll the welder out, start getting this thing welded in.
of this entire pan, the hardest part for me was this front part, because there's no way to clamp it. You really just have to like put, you know, your foot on it or something on it, and then just hope they're together enough to where when you weld it, they're gonna stick. And then you have the bottom layer starting to bow down, and then you have a gap, and then you gotta pull it back up, and this part has sucked. The rest of it's fine. The rest of it's easy. I mean, I've only gotten one amber to the chest, as you can see, so I got a little one. But other than that, it's been okay. Nothing landing on my belly button or my ear or any of those other weird places that always suck when you're getting welding burns. But up in the wheel well, I just got to do from the wheel well forward on both sides, and then just finish this front section, and the trunk's in. So, and I can, you know, relax for a little bit. But you have to get your welder pretty hot on this, I've noticed as well, to make sure it actually will penetrate through both layers. So, minus the fact I'm standing in your back window area, that makes it a little easier. Yeah. But it's a lot of work. I didn't sign up for this. I guess I did. But yeah, I've got my welder cranked up pretty hot for this, only on the front ones, because I'm intentionally trying to melt through the first layer and then melt everything together in that second layer, because I don't have like a spot welding gun or anything fancy. So, yeah, it's been kind of fun. The other thing I've been kind of doing, which you can't see under where my butt is I've been tack welding in the front so it doesn't lift. I'm just going to seam seal over that anyways, so it's not too big a deal. But use my little fancy body hammer to hit things down when their, you know, lips are kind of up. So yeah, this side's still a little bit high, but it's fine. So I'm gonna keep on welding this thing, and hopefully it'll be done here in a minute. What? Alright guys, I just ran out of welding gas. I've done a couple more tacks without gas, just so I had like just a couple more tacks to do, but it's one of those moments where I finished, had a couple little things to do, and then ran out of gas. So either way, pretty happy with that. Trunk is fully welded in at this point. You guys can see this AMD trunk is, you know, it's in there, it's solid, it's not going anywhere. The one thing I was thinking about doing though is just running like I did right here. I ran like a couple tacks, you know, a half inch apart or whatever it was. I was thinking about doing that on the top as well. You don't really need to, but if it's not really a horrible idea. It's not gonna hurt anything, obviously. I don't plan on whoever gets this car to ever have to take this trunk out again. This should not be an issue to ever have to take it out again. So I'm not really planning on anybody taking it out. So I was thinking about just tack welding on the top too. Then we're gonna seam seal this whole thing, and after the seam sealer, you know, I'm gonna primer all the edges and seam seal it, and we'll be pretty much done with this thing. And that thing looks awesome. You guys can get a look for that. That looks really good. You know, this whole thing came out phenomenally. Look at that. It's pretty good. I'm happy with that. So then, you know, once again, massive shout out to Autometal Direct for helping out with this build. If you guys want to look at some of the products for your car, head down in the description of my video. The wide range of products, Mopar, Chevy, Dodge, or Ford, whatever you got going on. They have a lot of different brands and a lot of different models. You would have never thought they have almost every panel for a 64 Galaxie. Pretty crazy, but you wouldn't think so, but here we are. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that finished up and come back when the seam sealer is done and we're about ready to spray a little bit of primer. Alright guys, so I got the trunk panel welded in. I went ahead and did those stitches on the top like I was saying earlier. I figure it can't hurt anything. We're just going to seam seal over them anyway, so I just did about every 1.5 to 2 inches or so all the way around the perimeter. As you can see, it comes all the way back to here.
Now I just got some automotive primer. I'm just gonna kind of seal in everything, and then we'll lay down some seam sealer. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray a bunch of this stuff. I'm not gonna show it on camera because I don't want to get paint on my camera. We're gonna go ahead and lay this around the perimeter and then come back for seam sealing. Alright, so I went ahead and I got Eastwood. It's just a Eastwood seam sealer. You can get really any seam sealer, it's not too big a deal. I just have had this since I did the floor pans in my F100, so this is what I'm going to use. And then I'm just going to go ahead and run this bead. I've got a solid piece still in there. Okay. And then don't worry too much about how it actually lays. Just get it in that crack. And from there I went to a welding supply place and I got this little brush. This is actually made for, you know, dragging out seam sealer. And what we're gonna do with this is just kind of, this was actually pushing the seam sealer into the crack in the seam and actually making sure it's not sitting on top but actually in the seam itself. I definitely used too much, I can already tell that. But I'll figure it out as I go. But you can see now it lays down and sits pretty flat, and I'll probably honestly, I definitely used too much, so you don't need to use as much as I did, but you get the point. Go around it. Alright guys, well there you have it. Trunk is installed, seam sealed, and ready to go. We got all the sealer primer on all the edges, seam sealed it. I'm gonna let that cure, and then at this point it's really ready. If I want to throw Dynamat or actually paint this thing, it's good to go. So in all honesty, this was actually a very easy install. It's very satisfying to look at the whole new trunk setup. But you know, once you cut all the old stuff out, this thing literally includes the cross members that go underneath it, which I didn't realize, which is why I had these ones sitting on here. I cut them off to make sure I had them. But you know, Automail Direct makes it super easy. Cut out all the old stuff, and then this thing quite literally just drops right in, which makes this whole process super simple, which I'm really, you know, stoked about. So massive shout out to those guys. Like I said earlier, you know, I'll have a link down in the description for this exact trunk if you want to pick this up for yourself for your car, as well as link to all their products so you guys can check out whatever you want for your own car. You could probably find a panel in your car that probably needs some replacing. So big shout out to those guys. Massive thank you to Automail Direct. Check them out down in the description. Hopefully find out a panel for your car. But I think that'll just about wrap up this video. You know, this thing came out rad. The next thing we're going to be focusing on before the taillight panel is we're going to be doing this big quarter panel, which as you can see is going to be quite the fun task. So that's next on the chopping block. We're going to cut the quarter panel off this thing in the next video with this car and hopefully get that guy repaired. So thank you guys a ton for watching this video. Like the video if you did enjoy. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. Share it with a friend, and I'll see you guys in the next video with this car. Bye guys.